The flour, got it. You want to make sure that the roux turns like a really chocolatey color. You don't want to burn your roux, and that's why you have a whisk. So a roux is equal parts, right? So equal parts flour, equal parts oil. So I have my pot already heating up, and I'm going to start first. I start with my oil first. So there are rules to it. Start with your oil first. Make sure your oil is a little bit hot and hotter, and then you go into adding your flour. But it's going to be equal parts. Let me get my measuring cup because I can eyeball it, but I would like to be a little precise, tonight. So I'm gonna start with my olive oil, and I'm using olive oil.
No, I like to use butter.
You like to use butter?
Yeah. Or olive oil butter mix.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I just poured a cup. But the recipe, I'm making more, but the recipe calls for, so like say for instance, if it calls for a half a cup of flour, you're gonna do a half a cup of olive oil as well. So once that heats up, then I'm gonna start adding my cup of flour, and then I'll start whisking. How everybody doing? Any questions so far? No? Okay. Cool, cool, cool. I turned the music down. I was listening to the best of Reba McElroy. So I had that blast, and then I was like, oh, everybody must not like country music, 'cause people walk about like, what is going on in here? So as I'm waiting for my oil to get hot, and you can test, like say for instance, if you have a chopstick or a wooden spoon, if it starts bubbling, then your oil is hot. Sometimes I get a little bit of water and I splash it in there, and it's like starts making the popping sound. And you added your oil first, so I have not added flour yet. Okay, it's getting there. Now, so we were talking about the Holy Trinity, like what even is that? And so for me, the recipe called for green or red. I did both, but if you wanted a little color to your to your gumbo, you can use the red bell peppers. Some folks were like, well, I think I got an email that someone was allergic to bell peppers, and so you can opt out of using them as long as you have the onions and the celery. They're going to give you the flavor. So my oil is getting hot. I'm looking at starting to prep my veggies so that way, as my oil gets hot, then I add the flour to it. Then I'll go ahead and start the prepping process. Because what it is it's just layering after layering after layering your gumbo. So I'm going to start with my green bell peppers. Is there any questions? No? Okay. So can you?
Yeah.
Thank you. So for my bell peppers, I have just a little bit right here, and the recipe called for them to be cubed. And so I've already cut the inside, and I use the whole bell pepper. So even the top part as well. I try to use everything, but so I'm gonna go ahead and start slicing my bell peppers inside. I slice them inside because I just feel like the knife loves cutting them from the inside. Okay. My oil is starting to heat up, and I'm gonna start just dicing them. Well, not dicing, but cubing. I'm making equal strides, but I am taking my time because my fingers, I want to keep them. So if I'm chopping, just slow down and make sure you take your time. You know, soul food, right? Soul food. I feel like soul food can be anything. It doesn't just mean macaroni and cheese, collard greens, and cornbread. But I grew up on that. So that was not, but anything I'm cooking that I'm that I'm spending time with, um, that's soul food because it comes straight from the heart. So when I'm cooking for friends, when I'm cooking for family, most times I'm cooking for family. you know, I'm going to Georgia in March, and my best friend was like, I was like, and I'm not cooking when I get there. And my best friend was like, oh yes, you are. It's like, yes, you are. Hey, I think the guest, did you come in a little late? I think
Video disappeared.
Clock. I thought it was 6 o'clock, not 5:30. Oh my gosh.
no worries. So right now we got our pot. We're making our roux. So first you start with oil, and it's equal parts. So the recipe calls for half a cup of flour. You're gonna do a half a cup of olive oil as well, right? So my oil is hot. I am going to go ahead and start adding my flour to it, and you're gonna see like it start bubbling. But what you want to do is this is where you get your whisk. You're gonna make sure that you get all the clumps out, and you just let it. It's gonna keep cooking, but what you want to do is just keep moving it. You don't want to burn it, but if you keep moving it, you're gonna see it turns into. Your goal is you want it to look like chocolate. Well, milk chocolate, but we all love the dark chocolate. But if you keep it moving, and you see like the bubbles and stuff, that's just it's cooking. But this isn't the roux that we want. We want it to be a little bit darker. Okay. And if anybody has any questions so far?
How y'all doing?
Okay.
Like they're working hard.
Mm. So while that's going, I'm multitasking. Normally, like it's almost like Thanksgiving. My dad comes out of his room and he's like, Jamar, you have too much going on. But it's like I have this pot going on over here, that pot going on, and keep stirring your roux, okay? Okay. So now I got my bell peppers prepped. I'm gonna move on to my onions. And you can do your onions a rough chop, or you can cut them the same way how you did your bell peppers to keep everything consistent. I got my bell peppers. I got my onions. And so the type of, I know like everyone saw that this 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 gumbo has greens in it. So it's a mix. It's one is vegetarian, so no chicken, no pork, no seafood, goes in threes, right? But it's two types of gumbos put in one. You have the classic gumbo with the roux and the veggies, the Holy Trinity, but then the other one is the herbs. It's the herb the herbs, sorry, sure herbs gumbo, which encompasses all of the greens. So it's basically a gumbo full of greens. And typically in New Orleans, they eat it around Lent. But I was like, well, if I'm doing gumbo and I'm making it vegetarian, I love spinach. I love putting greens. And I was like, can't go wrong with cannellini beans in there either. So I'm going to chop some more on my, how's everybody's roux doing?
How's your roux?
Good.
Okay.
Hey, Jamar, how do we know when the roux is finished?
So the roux, so right now you're looking for the roux to change colors.
Okay.
So mine is still like it's still at the point where when we put the it's a tan color. The richness of the roux comes with letting it cook, letting it take on a whole different color. So like when it gets a little like chocolatey, like a deeper, richer brown, that's when you know it's ready. And when it hits that point, that's when we're gonna add our celery, our bell peppers, and our onions. I'll mix it around so that way you can see. Mine is cooking, but it's still not there yet. And that's why like gumbo and all of those things, it's like, taking your time. Like right now I have a lot of prep to do. So I'm doing my onions, my bell peppers, I'm about to start on my celery. And it's over here doing its job. That's one of the cool things of like, it's Thursday, but this is a quick and easy meal that you can make. Say for instance, if you want to prep ahead and you can continue to eat it because it's the gift that does not stop giving. So on my celery, I am doing, so you can either go really thin on your celery. I try to keep it consistent. So I have some of them prepped and I'm going to just start chopping. So like, okay.
Oh, there we go.
This is how, and they are about this thin.
Okay, so like half an inch.
Thank you for that. I'm not good with measurements. Typically, whenever I'm like, oh, I'm about to go get the tape measure out at the co-op, they're like, everybody stops and like, can I help you? I'm like, I know what I'm doing. So I'm gonna continue mixing my roux. And now, like you see, like the colors changing. Yeah, changing. Okay. So I got my, I'm gonna do a little bit more celery. Hey, so I'm gonna put that over there. So I got most of my prep being taken out of the way. So putting this over here. I have my veggie stock over there. So the next thing I'm gonna do is start on my prep. So how's that food looking?
Ooh, look at that prep. How's the roux going? Joanne, you okay?
Are y'all seeing the different? Are y'all seeing a color change as you keep stirring?
Yeah, how dark does that roux need to get, Jamar?
I would say, okay. So if I was comparing it to a wooden spoon, I would want it to get kind of like. Can you? Hey, no problem. So like maybe chocolatey, like right here, like this color. Not this color, because that means you burn your roux. But if it's already getting like this brown, go ahead and we'll start adding our veggies to it. So you're gonna add the celery, the bell pepper, the onions. Once your roux gets chocolatey, you're gonna start cooking. That's the cooking process. This is all going in one pot, and we had another pot in the recipe because we're gonna be making some basmati rice or white rice. If we were in the South, it would be parboiled rice. But okay, so my roux isn't ready yet, but I'm gonna keep prepping because I got garlic, and I'm using the recipe calls for 2 chopped garlic cloves. When have I ever did 2 chopped garlic cloves? But you go, that's like to start out with, and if you feel like you would like a little bit more, you can always add a little bit more to it. Hello. I love garlic. Go ahead and pop your veggies, okay?
Jamal, does the garlic go in with the bell pepper and the onions right now?
Let's wait before we put the garlic in there. You know, it burns a little bit quick. So I'm just getting everything prepped, but garlic is always like, we have to put a buffer between garlic, you know. Mmm, this is some good garlic. I had to make a decision and compost some of my garlic because I was like, Jamar, why do you have 52 heads of garlic growing? You know,
Ah,
a little obsessive, right?
you could be gifting them.
Yeah, I could. I did pull them up and I was like, I told my friend who was just starting a garden, I was like, hey, I got garlic for you. And the only thing you gotta do is put them back in the ground. I came up with a plan and I'm trying to stick to it, which it's just like me and recipes. I always been trying, you know. Mm. So now,
It says, what? Compost it and share it around.
yeah. It's either I mean, it'll be good compost, or but most times people are like, you know, my friends are like, I already have an abundance of that, Jamar. I don't need it. And I'm like, really? I know last year I kind of went crazy with planting cabbage. And so I was gardening with a friend, and so we were starting our vegetables together for both of our gardens. And I had like maybe 45 cabbage plants. And I just brought them into the co-op and was like, hey, who wants cabbage? You know? And I took them and dropped them off at the community garden as well. Okay, so mine is is a caramel color, which is really nice. I just popped some green for myself, so y'all be careful. Story of my life. Between me and Rue and me and grits, something's popping on me. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my bell peppers. Oh, sorry, excuse me. And my celery.
Hear the sizzle.
You do? And we're gonna let those cook a little while. You'll see like your roux gets it starts thickening up, but we're gonna let our onions and our bell pepper and our celery just have a little fun for a little bit. And I'm still prepping. So I think that's enough garlic for now.
Ah,
It looks like Cheyenne has a question.
Hey, Cheyenne.
Cheyenne.
Hey, Jamar and everyone. So what temperature is your pan on? Because I feel like mine is always too high for some reason.
So if you want to start out, because you're dealing with oil, right?
Yeah.
Always like, if you have, that's just like fried chicken too. Like I will drop my chicken in high heat and then I'll reduce it down. But with oil and this, like, because you don't want to burn your roux, you cook on medium heat. You know, I always start out medium, and then if I'm not really getting the results that I would like, then I'll turn it up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, you have the control.
I know. I think part of it is just getting to know a new stove, and I feel like they're always like medium high is way too high.
Oh my, we can write an article, a book about different stoves, different altitudes. You know, it all contributes, right? Mm. I'm always saying, So I'm gonna let those cook until my veggies get a little bit more tender. And now I'm gonna like rough chop my garlic. One of the things that I always love is like if I get some soup or something and there's like a whole clove of garlic, I'm like, I love that. Thank you. Whoever did that. but I'm rough chopping, but I'm also like making sure there's no big pieces because I want garlic to be all the way throughout my gumbo. So I'm doing a couple of different chops a different ways, bringing it back together and just, you know.
How's everybody's roux going? Any questions, anybody?
Everyone have their veggies in their room? Oh, I love your chef hat.
Joanne?
Okay, so I got it to a nice size. It's like, it's giving me like gravy, onions, all of the things. How does it smell?
Smelling good.
Okay.
Coming in for a kiss.
So it looks like a little, it can look a little mushy. That's just because of the flour and but once we add the veggie stock to it, then it's gonna thicken up. So I am still rough chopping my garlic. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna add my garlic to it now. Try to get every crumb of garlic.
Yes.
How's everybody doing? How's everything looking? How's everything smelling? Okay.
Thumbs up.
Cheyenne, how you feeling about your new stove?
Well, I turned it down way too much, so we're coming back up now.
Okay. And you know, the cool thing about it is getting familiar with like everything in a brand new kitchen. You know, it's like when I'm like, oh, let's not go to dinner. How about I come over and get, and cook dinner for you? It's like I'm getting acquainted with the whole new kitchen. Everything cooks a little different. So I'm out of my comfort zone, as some would say. I'm gonna put a little bit of red in there because I just love red bell peppers.
It does smell amazing though, like a really unique smell. So I'm loving that.
So that's the Holy Trinity. And so what we're doing is, so let me clean up and make sure you're cleaning up your spaces, okay? Because like I want to be able to finish cooking, and then I am gonna sit down and break bread. I don't want to have to be worried about, oh, I just have destroyed my kitchen. How can I put it back together really quickly? So I'm gonna continue to let that. So we saw how the recipe called for kale. So this is like the herbs where we have traditionally you would do like 3, but like that type of gumbo, it has collards, cabbage, herbs. It is really like whew. But here we're only doing like I thought the kale and the spinach would be a good medium. I was gonna do chard. I love chard, but I was like, oh well, I would kind of like it to be a little bit more simple.
Look at that, Paul.
Paul's in a new location.
Hey, welcome back.
Whew, sorry about that, y'all. My internet went out.
Story of my Tuesdays.
My Thursday.
Well, welcome back. So I'm gonna put this over here. Just put it on the side. I do like a deep bowl beside me so I can put my spoons and all of those things in. So back to the kale. What we're gonna do is just rough chop it. It's gonna be different, but all of the leaves are gonna cook down when we add it to like the boiling broth and all of those good things. So I do a little bit at a time. It's like dino kale. I love it. And the fact that if you have like lemon juice to this kale, like if you're making a salad, you can massage the kale and it just breaks down really, really nicely.
With some lemon juice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Or olive oil. You can do it in olive oil. Hmm.
Well, lemon juice and olive oil, perfect. And it's practically a dressing.
Absolutely. So I'm getting that done. I'm not gonna chop the spinach because it was loose. Okay, so let's look. So now that has been cooking, I'm gonna add my veggie stock, and it asks for 3.5 cups.
Is this the roux, Jamar?
Yeah, we've already made the roux. What we're
Okay.
doing now is just adding our veggie stock to it.
Cool. Can't believe I missed the beginning of Gumbo.
Okay. That could go on a t-shirt.
Might have to.
So as I start, so right now I haven't added any seasoning. I am going to drop in some bay leaves, and then I am going to add my Cajun spices. 1, 2.
Wouldn't be
Okay,
gumbo without the Cajun spices, right?
absolutely not. So let me wipe down my station. Okay. I'm kind of done chopping for right now. So you see it still has a thickening
Mm-hmm.
to it. It's not just, so that's good. And if you need more veggie stock and you feel like, you know what, this is just too thick, add a little bit more. This is your recipe, but you always start with less and then you start adding when it comes to liquids and stuff like that. So
And make it your own.
yes. Oh,
Jamar, did you add your spinach to this?
I haven't added my spinach yet.
No, he hasn't added the spinach yet.
What I'm about to do is just start adding a little, I'm gonna start adding some seasoning. And then I did add my bay leaf. And what we'll do is like, we'll start adding the greens in but you wanna make sure that it's boiling so that way the spinach and the kale cooks down.
Cool.
Okay. So the recipe called for, this is a tablespoon. 4 tablespoons. You can start out light if you would like. So like start with maybe 1 tablespoon, 1.5 tablespoons, and then as we build it up.
Cool.
Is this the Cajun spice from the
Yes, yes.
bulk Cajun spice?
So I got this bulk Cajun spice. So when I was making it, I actually made my own seasoning. And I felt like that would have just been a little bit much, with adding this already a gumbo. And it's Thursday. It's like, how can we make life a lot easier for all of us? So
Appreciate that.
Right, I'm gonna add maybe 2 sprinkles of salt. 2 pinches, not pinches, but they're like, dust. Okay. And then I'm gonna add just maybe like a teaspoon of pepper. And that's good.
Joanne said order out to make life easier, but that's no fun.
That is not. Especially if you order out and you get in, you're like, I could have cooked this and it would have been a little better.
She
Hashtag-
says with her chef hat on.
Yeah. Hi, Cheyenne.
Cheyenne has a question, Jamar. Go ahead, Cheyenne.
Hey, so I was wondering what you would have put in your Cajun spice because I'm improvising and
Okay. So what that is like you start out with the salt is gonna be more because you have liquid, and by the time you add your seasonings, you lose kind of like by the time you add your veggie stock, you kind of lose those seasonings. So it's almost like you have to re-season. So what I did was I did a tablespoon. No, I started with equal parts. So it's onion powder. I also did I did coriander. So onion powder, coriander, paprika, and I didn't use smoked paprika, but I used regular paprika. Cayenne. I always throw in like instead of doing a tablespoon of cayenne, I would do a teaspoon of cayenne because as cayenne sits and it gets and you continue to boil, it gets hot, you know.
Yeah.
So that's no fun. But and then I added some parsley, dry oregano. Yeah, and that's really it. But then the salt and the pepper. Some folks they add like maybe some garlic granules or garlic salt or garlic seasoning, onion powder, onion salt. And then I always throw a bay leaf in there because it's gumbo and it needs bay leaf. You know? But the salt will be something that varies depending on how your taste buds are.
Yep.
So
Good question,
if
Cheyenne.
you're looking at your bag, you can start with a tablespoon instead of 4 tablespoons. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be adding stuff to the recipe. So we're tasting throughout to make sure our seasonings are right to our liking. Does that?
well, yeah, I appreciate that. I don't have the co-op close by. Anyway, long story short, a friend of mine who's from Louisiana brought me some whatever her little mix is. And
Okay.
it's good, but it's very salty. So I'm like, I'm so glad I started with 2 tablespoons. Obviously,
Right. Yeah.
your
Well,
recipe, but ooh.
Yeah, I mean, because like say for instance, like they have Slap Your Mama or they have Zatarans. Zatarans, I love Zatarans because it's like the right amount, but you do have that salt. So it is cool. Like if you do have a co-op and you're in Eugene, so I'll find you a local co-op there. But the thing about it is like the salt, right? Because it's like it can be so salty. And then if you were to be following a recipe, you're like, oh my gosh, my recipe is salty. But what you can do to reduce the salt is if you wanted to add a little bit more veggie stock and things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. She also brought me a bunch of red pepper flakes.
Oh, you have a good neighbor.
I know, yeah, my friend from Louisiana. But anyway, Capella Market, I think I'll go there next time because I know they do have both spices.
Mhm.
But yeah, too much salt for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So another thing, what I'm about to start doing is before I add my greens, I'm gonna add my cannellini beans. So I did 2 cans. That's because of what I'm doing here, but you can do 1 can of beans. And I love cannellini.
Do you drain the beans?
Yeah, I drained the beans. I drained the beans and I rinsed them off. And I'm not gonna add all of them. Because I don't want it to be chili. You know, it's not chili, it's gumbo.
I got a question for you, Jamar.
You have a question for me?
Yeah. So what if I wanted to, I went fishing over the weekend and I caught some fish.
Mm-hmm.
How would I go about adding fish to
The gumbo?
Yeah.
Ooh, good question.
So that would be your protein.
Yeah.
So it's like in 3s, right? So if you wanted to just have if you wanted to add your shrimp, not your shrimp, but your fish, in raw, you could. I feel like it'll be good, like if you were to like maybe like smoke it a little bit, so that way it doesn't just fall apart and your fish isn't raw through it.
Yeah.
I'll probably keep the skin on because that is just like scrape it, don't take the skin off.
Yeah.
Probably put it on the grill a little bit and then chop it up and then I would just pop it in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So
Nice, good question.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I just got to go fishing over the weekend, so
Oh,
I caught a few fish.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have my beans in, and I'm gonna start adding my kale. And I'm bringing my kale all throughout it. Yeah.
What kind of heat do you have that pot on now?
Oh, I have it on medium heat.
Medium, okay.
Yeah. And you'll see like the kale and the spinach, they're gonna break down really nicely.
Sure. It's looking hearty.
Yes. And if it's looking too hard, you can always add a little bit more veggie stock to it. It has me excited.
Yeah.
Me too.
You do.
So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna add just a little bit more veggie
More
stock.
broth. Yeah.
Yep. But remember, we're not making soup, so you want your you made the roux, so the roux is gonna give it its thickness, but you wanna make sure that you're also not putting too much liquid into it. Oh, yeah, that's just what it needed.
Nice.
So, okay, so now I have everything in there but my parsley. My parsley is what I'm gonna do last. Now, we have about 20 more minutes. We're gonna go ahead and start making the rice, okay?
Sounds good.
So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put my gumbo over there and now with my rice. So I'm doing 1 cup. So 1 cup of rice, sorry. 1 cup of rice, it is, so 1 to 2, right? So for 1 cup of rice, you're gonna do 2 parts liquid. What I like to do is so if I have a pan, I put a little olive oil, drizzle a little olive oil in the bottom of it. But I'm gonna use some water to make my rice in. So you can rinse your rice as well. But what I like to do is, and I will slow down so that way everybody is at the point where they can get their pot.
Nice. So, Jamar, are you going to use water for the rice or veggie stock?
You can. I always use veggie stock, but I didn't put enough veggie stock in the recipe, so you can use water.
Okay.
As
Cool.
well. So remember, it's a 1 to 2, right? So if I use 2 cups of rice, how much water am I going to use?
Let me guess, 4.
There you go. It is a commonly, like in rice and quinoa and all of those, it's like people have eaten undercooked rice and it's like, I'm never doing it again, because it is one of those tricky things. I learned how to make grits before I learned how to make rice, and my mom was like, you know.
Thanks, Jamie. She said I passed the math test.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So,
As long as it's basic math.
I like to toast my quinoa, and I also like to toast my rice. Most times when I'm at home, like if you've ever had me make quinoa before, I always like do a base. So like I'll do like onions, garlic. Sometimes I'll do tomatoes and things like that, and in my rice as well. So, and it changes the flavor, it changes the color, and it's just a fun thing. So I'm putting my rice in my pan. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna toast it a little bit. I feel
You're going to toast it on the olive oil first?
Yes, I'm gonna toast it on olive oil first. And I think what I'll do is I'll do like 2 cups,
Interesting.
because folks are gonna wanna, folks are gonna want one, and then if you're passing by the co-op around 6:30.
Jamar will feed you.
Yes, I will. Let's go. Oh. So I'm gonna let it toast a little bit. And the cool thing about it is I have my heat up high. I'm not gonna put a lid on it until I see bubbles. Right? I'm not gonna put a lid on it until I see bubbles, and it takes 20 minutes to cook. So I'm moving it around. I love rice, by the way. I don't really cook it too much. I love cooking quinoa and things like that. So I'm gonna let it go. I'm still checking on my gumbo.
What's your gumbo doing now?
Oh, you want to see it?
Bringing it on.
You can check. You can
Kind of,
So this is how it looks right now,
Nice.
and let me put it right here.
it's smelling good.
So I can go around and everything is breaking down. I'm tasting it to see, maybe I need a little bit more Cajun seasoning. Maybe I need a little bit more salt, pepper, those things. And then once we put the rice on, I'll show you how to delicately put fresh parsley in this. Because you want to not put all the stems in it, because the stems kind of make it a little bitter. But we're looking at the leaves. So I'm gonna pop this over here. Okay, and so my rice is still toasting. I haven't put any liquid in there yet.
And you're gonna cook it for 20 minutes after you add the liquid, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm adding liquid. I put 2 cups of rice in there, so I'm adding 4 cups of liquid. Yes. Okay, and remember, I'm looking for like the circle of bubbles. You know, if you boiled anything, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
The big circle of bubbles just pop up and all of that good stuff. So, okay,
Got to get the rice just right.
yes. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on a timer for everyone as well.
Excellent. How's everybody doing? Anybody have any questions for Jamar at this point? Everybody's looking busy. I like that.
Right? It's like everyone's like, okay, but this does have a lot of components. It does have a lot of prep. But it is
Definitely.
something that I love on a cold day. But I also love it on a summer day when I'm like eating gumbo, have my sausages and things like that, and I may have a piece of fried catfish beside me, you know, and all of that good stuff. So
That sounds amazing.
I'm having a photo shoot right now.
Just wondering what was going on there.
And so if I have like extra vegetables over, I can make a salad with. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Nice.
Little celery, just extra vegetables. Who doesn't like a good salad? Okay. I'm clearing the space.
Cool. Looks like everybody's moving along with you.
Anyone have any questions so far?
Yeah, feel free to unmute if you have any questions or throw them in chat and we'll feed them to Jamar.
I have a question. After the rice has little bubbles all around the outside, then what?
So once it's boiling, go ahead and put your lid on and reduce the heat. Put it at least like 5 or in the middle of medium, and then put the lid on, and you're gonna put your timer for 20 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
So would that'd be like a simmer, Jamar?
Yes, yes,
Cool.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm just making a quick salad, sorry, because I have like a whole bunch of greens left over. So quick salad dressing, olive oil, lemon juice, salt, pepper.
And most of you know Jamar doesn't let any ingredients go to waste. They all get used in something.
Hey,
Um,
Jamar,
Yes.
you you guys make a really good salad dressing for your prepared salads there. Do you share that recipe for that dressing?
You know what? If you ask Kat, I've made it, but like it's always her telling me do this or add this but it's vegan ranch and it's made from scratch and it is delicious. So
It's, well, yeah, I love
I
it.
think she will.
You think she'd give me the black bean chili recipe?
That she might, I don't know. Cause
That's a
it's
good
so
one.
good. It's good. Like every day is good.
Yeah, agreed.
Mhm. Okay. So
Are you and Alan having a photo shoot tonight?
I don't know.
I will shoot a few shots of the show. No, you know,
Appreciate it, Alan.
How is everybody's gumbo looking and tasting? Have you sampled it? Okay.
Got a
Okay.
thumbs up from Steve and Joanne.
Why do I only have, can I put some, of course I'll put some beans in it. Why not?
I get enough beans.
Looks like everybody's keeping busy.
Okay. Salad is good.
Nice.
Okay, so now let's start looking at the parsley. Because what we're gonna do is just
First, I have to know what you just sprinkled on that salad.
pepper.
Oh, okay.
I love my salads very like peppery. I
Okay.
don't know. It's one of those things that I love.
You like it when the waiter or waitress brings you the crushed pepper?
Yeah. I'm bad at restaurants because like I've worked in restaurants almost for a really long time and all of a sudden I'm like busting the table. Or because it's such a small town, by the time everyone knows the owners and all of those things, so you can just walk on back to the kitchen.
Yep, that's true.
Don't tell them I told you that. But so with the parsley, I'm gonna get like a big clump of parsley, and this is gonna take a little time. I'm gonna cut my gumbo down, and then has everyone started their rice? Okay, got my rice going.
Looks like it.
So for
Linda, how
my
you doing?
so
Yeah,
for
you.
my,
I'm good. I came late, so I'm gonna make it on Saturday. I'm just watching everything.
okay.
Okay, cool.
And you
I
can
thought you were
always
being a little
call.
quiet. I was worried.
I
You can always call.
wouldn't miss a class.
Good to
So
see you.
as far as the parsley, what I'm doing is I'm taking my time. My gumbo is simmering, my rice is cooking. I am cleaning sporadically. I just tossed together a quick salad, because you only got me for 2 hours, 2 of the week, And very often I'll cook on a Tuesday, and my dad is like, "What's going on? Is it Christmas?" So that's really cool. But for the parsley, we're not going to use the stems. I'm gonna compost mine because they make my veggie stock a little bitter, but I am using all of the leaves. And so I'm just going through and just plucking my leaves and having a good time. At this point, I'm like chatting with people that's around me, telling people, get out of the pot. you know, um,
Is that gonna be a garnish?
So this is gonna be a garnish, but we're gonna put some of it on top, but then the other ones we're gonna put in our gumbo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cause it wouldn't be gumbo without parsley. Hey. It takes a little time, but you know, this is soul food.
Well worth the wait.
Well worth the wait. That was like the quickest salad I've ever made. I feel like.
That was quick.
Yeah. We kind of had most of the ingredients.
Yeah, I
So
had
it's like,
everything
well, hey,
prepped. It's like,
let's
okay.
just throw this together.
I'm like, I love a quick salad. Oh.
Yeah. I know I've been getting back into eating salad a little bit.
Mhm.
I've been kind of making kind of a bit of a Thai dish. Like
Hi.
a bed of lettuce and then I'll put some beans and rice on top of it.
Oh.
Use a little sriracha
Mhm.
and some yogurt as a sauce.
Mhm.
And, yeah, and a little fresh purple cabbage on it.
Mhm. Oh, I love
Yeah.
purple cabbage.
Yeah.
But you know, salads are some like they're it's a simple word, but can be very complex, right? It can be like a soup, you know. It's like, when do I know how to stop? But like for me, it's like if I got greens, it's like I got greens, I got chickpeas, I'm having a good day. So I have like plucked all my leaves. I'm gonna start doing a chop on them. So I'm like bunching them up and doing keeping it going. I'm watching out for my fingers.
Please do.
And then going different ways with it. Oh, is that a piece? That's a piece of garlic.
Piece of garlic.
So, by the way, I love if you ever have glasses and they fall off in the kitchen. I have a rope now. It's like the best thing. It's the best thing.
It's a nice one. Rainbow color.
Yes,
Sweet.
I got it here at the co-op.
You got it.
I was admiring it, and the person that makes them only come like once a year.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are fair traded out of Mayan. They're Mayan, made in Maya. No, Chile, I think. Okay.
All right.
Your glasses rope was made in Chile?
Yeah,
Wow.
they're fair traded,
Nice.
which means the folks that make these things, you know, if it's a village or a community, all the money stays there. You know, and fair trade. The cool thing about fair trade is it gives it a platform for everything to be reinvested in the community. Like the bananas, for example, if you shop at the co-op and you get the bananas, they are Organics Unlimited, but they are a part of this initiative called Grow. And the initiative is pretty great. So like, say for instance, for everybody that orders bananas, all the money comes back and it stays locally. So with it staying locally, it creates access. It creates access to water, creates access to education, healthcare, getting your teeth, like the basic needs, right? Versus when a big corporation comes in and all of the money is kind of moved out. You know, most of fair trade is worker owned, which means everybody that works on the farm, whoever is collecting it gets a share of the money.
Let's not forget how shopping local helps our environment either.
Absolutely, it reduces our carbon footprint.
Big
But
time.
you know, whenever you are shopping and you're keeping your money locally, that's supporting our local economy. You know, which is one of the principles of the co-op. By the way, I love talking co-op and I love our principles.
Yeah.
It allows us to do a lot of different things that regular grocery stores couldn't do. Like one of them is concern for community, which we have like a roundup that supports all of the nonprofits in our community. I can always, if I want to advocate, I can always say, well, hey, we have this principle that says concern for community, you know, and it's like, okay, Mara. So, anyways,
It's important.
So I'm gonna add half of my parsley. And I'll bring my gumbo over so you can kind of see it.
Right.
So my kale has been breaking down, my spinach is breaking down, and I like to add spring last. And so what I'm doing is I have prepped all of that parsley, which smells so good. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put half of it in here. And I'm gonna stir it in.
Yum.
So it still has, so my gumbo has body, you know, it's moving around. It makes noises, which is great. It's just like macaroni and cheese. It's like you cannot make a cheese sauce if it's not talking to you. You know, like, it's like I was teaching, my best friend always is calling me when he's cooking in the kitchen and he's like, Jamar, how do I make this macaroni and cheese? And we were talking and I was like, well, you know when the cheese sauce is ready when it's talking to you. He was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you'll know when it happens. And he's like, okay, Jamar, my cheese sauce is talking, it's making noises, it's ready.
All is good.
Yes, all is good.
Stacy, did you have a question? Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna probably add a little bit more Cajun seasoning. I'm not gonna add too much because it can be very spicy, but so it looks like we are having gumbo. Mmm.
Yeah.
So a couple things you've learned tonight is, oh, did I tell y'all what gumbo means? Did I give you
Tell
the
us.
definition? Okay, so the definition of gumbo means okra. It means okra. So any gumbo that you make, and I didn't want to do frozen okra for this. Our produce department is in season, so I try to make sure that whatever is in season kind of goes with the community cooking class. But that's why you always see gumbo in a lot of Creole cooking, a lot of African cooking is okra, you know, so. But this doesn't have okra in it, but it has a lot of veggies. It has the Holy Trinity. It has some cannellini beans. I wouldn't do kidney beans. Cannellini are a little bit more fancier.
Okay. Go ahead, Cheyenne.
It's not a pressing question. I was just wondering more about okra because I have never had a good okra experience. And I'm just wondering how you serve it, Jamar, how you eat it.
Okay, so
You must have had that slimy okra.
well, and that's what everybody has said. So one of the things to kind of like change to take the sliminess out, if that is a standout, you can cook, like slice it and cook it in the oven for a little bit. Make like roast it up a little bit, not all the way like how you would burn it, but if you put it in the oven, the sliminess dries out, and then you can add it to your gumbo. But that is everybody. I mean, growing up, like if we had black eyed peas, they had okra in them, you know. But I also love fried okra, which is not as slimy, but you can do the same thing if you wanted to cook it for a little bit in the oven, and then do like an egg wash and a cornmeal batter and all of those things. You can drop it in there. It would serve the same purpose.
Yeah.
But I love okra. I mean, I even pickle it. So, you know, it's really, but I love okra. My dad hates okra. So if I'm making gumbo, he's like, please don't put okra in it. But I always sneak it in there some way, somehow.
Well, it's one of those foods that I've always thought that I would like. I like almost everything. And I feel like I tried it once when I was a kid. I didn't care for it, you know. And then recently we have this fun challenge with our baby to try to expose him to 100 foods by the age of 1. It's just like a fun way to help kids get comfortable eating lots of different things. We all tried okra and it was awful. And it was, you know, in all fairness, I didn't go and get fresh okra and cook it myself, which I think was my first mistake. So I will try that. But the sliminess, I mean, like I said, I'm very adventurous of an eater, and I tried, but I could not get past it. So I'm gonna have to look up a recipe and cook it myself.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I would. I always say, If I try something, normally like, and that's like us as kids, right? We form these opinions. If we had it one time and it's like, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. And then it gets into the category of I don't eat it, right? I don't eat it. You know, commonly one of those foods are beets, right? Like you have pickled beets, canned beets as a child, and you're like, now I don't like beets, you know? And so what I would say is just now that you're able to cook it yourself, go back into those categories where you're like, I don't like this, I don't like that, and just be open to it because it may have been like, I may not like how it was prepared, but if I cook it, I'll eat it, right? You know, so like beets, I love beets. When I was a kid, I hated beets. You know, because it was one of those vegetables where it was like, you can't leave the table until it's gone. You know, that was me. And also sweet potatoes. Like I never liked it whole roasted sweet potatoes. Now I like, yeah, potatoes, sweet potatoes, Japanese potatoes. And I made a really good, oh, you have a question?
Oh, Jamar, I just wanted to tell you, because I think Mary probably wants to go eat. She said, I cooked along tonight, learned a new technique, making a roux, and the gumbo is delicious. Many thanks for a great dinner. Thanks for joining us, Mary. Please go eat if you need to go.
Okay, my rice got 5, oh, we're just a little bit over time, but it's gonna come together. So I got my bowl.
Brussels
It's like-
sprouts for me.
Just look at my, oh, you don't like Brussels sprouts?
When I was younger.
Oh.
I love them now.
I was like, who doesn't like Brussels sprouts? I think my rice is ready. I'll put it over here.
And I highly recommend fresh local beets when they're in season.
Oh, yes.
It makes the world. Deb heard you and she said it makes a difference.
That's looking good.
It makes a huge difference. I love local beets.
Too.
And Valley Flora eggplants. I think in the summer, everyone has an abundance of eggplants, and it's like, what do I do with that? So this summer we'll do some eggplant work.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Okay. I need to clean up and I'm gonna start plating.
It's bothering you. Your station's a little messy, isn't it?
Yeah, you see that, right?
I saw it. I saw that look on your face.
I'm like, oh, what is going on?
It's like, oh no, there is not a mess where I'm about to plate my dish.
Well, and here's where we start eating with our eyes, right? You know, it's like, okay, got
And
it.
Joanne said we made a chicken gumbo tonight, and this recipe is awesome. Yummy.
Yes. Okay.
Thanks,
I love
Joanne.
that. I love that.
And Joanne, it's not just the wine talking, right?
No. And I love your chef hat. I love that.
Me
Oh my
too.
gosh.
It's awesome. She came to play.
I'm bringing my rice over. Oh, and it's nice and fluffy. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is like I have a bowl, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the rice go in the middle, or if you want to, what you can do is also with the gumbo, because we're using ladles, right? So with the gumbo, I'm gonna fill my bowl up, and I'm making sure that I am being mindful because I want it to look really delicious. So I'm taking my time, and then what I'm doing is I'm gonna do my rice.
Okay.
I don't want that much rice, but I want that. Okay. I'm gonna put my rice in the middle, and it's just gonna sink in, and I can just put a little bit more, and I'm taking my time,
Sure.
right?
How's it smell in there, Alan?
It smells heavenly.
I bet.
It's making me hungry.
what I'm gonna do is, because I have some rice over there, I'm gonna pop it
And
in.
don't worry, Jamar will feed our cameraman, Alan.
Oh, yes, yes. And so now I have, do I have any more bay leaves? Because here's another good touch. If I'm plating and I'm cooking dinner, you know, and they're like, this is pretty cool on a Thursday night, I'm gonna tuck my bay leaf on the side. Tuck my bay leaf on the side. Garnish. And I'm ready to go.
Nice. Very cool. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Hey,
definitely.
thank y'all for coming. I love, like, this week has been a little hectic, but I was like, once I get in the kitchen and I have to cook and just hang out with all of my friends, this is what I needed.
Yes. Thank you, Jamar, for giving us a break from the news today.
Hey,
And Starla said 8 leftovers, but what a treat to learn from you, Jamar. Always.
are you looking at my salad? So everyone didn't have a chance to see my salad that I made.
Oh,
But
let's see
here
it
is.
again there. Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
it has some red bell peppers, some cannellini beans. It has a little drizzle of olive oil and lemon juice and salt and pepper, but it's gonna go really well. It was just what I had left over. And I'm like,
Nice.
you don't want it to go to waste, but you could always add a salad to increase your vegetable intake. But yeah, so thank you all for cooking along with me tonight.
Yes. Thank you all for coming. Good job, Jamar.
Thank you. Let's give Paul and Josh. And by the way, it is the co-op's 51st birthday. This
Happy
month
birthday.
will be 51 years. So. Woo! Okay.
Awesome. And we do appreciate our co-op.
Hey, right. We appreciate our libraries in our community.
Thank you, Jamar.
Yeah.
And
All right,
sorry
y'all.
about the funky start, y'all. I lost my internet for about 20 minutes.
No worries. I was like, Josh, you're on.
That's what I texted him. Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate you holding the fort.
All right, thank y'all. And
Anytime.
send us photos, please, so we can post it on our social media.
Yeah, you guys all have my email address and your Zoom confirmation. If you could send us photos of your dishes, we'd really appreciate it so we can share them out later.
Yes.
All righty. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks all. Oh, nice